You ever look at your phone, scroll through an old group chat, and feel nothing? Not anger, not sadness, just this quiet sense of distance, like you're reading messages from a past version of yourself. You still like these people, you still care, but somehow the jokes don't land the same. The plans feel heavier. And replying starts to feel like a chore you keep postponing until it's awkwardly too late. And then you catch yourself thinking something slightly uncomfortable. When did this stop fitting? Maybe it's you, maybe it's someone you know. Maybe you're the one slowly drifting away without making a scene. No fights, no dramatic exits, just silence growing in the spaces between conversations. That quiet drifting, that's not random. There's a psychology behind why some people outgrow their friend groups without ever announcing it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Before we start, if you've ever felt this quiet distance creeping in, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and it means you won't miss the next deep dive into human behavior. Let's start with the quiet evolver. This is the person whose life changes internally before it ever changes externally. From the outside, they look the same. Same humor, same tone, same, "yeah, I'm good," when you ask how they're doing. But inside, something has shifted. Their interests deepen. Their values sharpen. They start asking questions they never asked before, about meaning, about direction, about who they actually want to be. So when they sit with their old friend group, something feels off. The conversations loop. The same complaints, the same stories, the same cycles of drama that never resolve. And instead of judging it, they just quietly notice it. Psychologically, this happens when someone's identity grows faster than their environment. We often bond with friends during shared stages: school, early work life, survival mode. But when one person starts evolving inwardly, the group can feel frozen in time. Not because the others are behind, but because growth isn't synchronized. The quiet evolver doesn't confront anyone. They don't announce, "I've outgrown you." That would feel cruel and unnecessary. Instead, they withdraw their energy. They reply less. They cancel plans more often, not out of arrogance, but out of misalignment. If this is you, you've probably felt guilty about it. Like you're betraying something sacred. But deep down, you know, staying would require shrinking yourself. Then there's the emotional minimalist. This type doesn't hate people. They just become very selective about emotional labor. At some point, they realize how much energy they've been spending managing group dynamics, soothing egos, playing mediator, laughing at jokes they don't find funny, pretending things don't bother them. One day, something small tips them over. A dismissive comment, a repeated boundary crossing, a moment where they need support and realize it's not coming. And instead of exploding, they quietly recalibrate. Psychologically, emotional minimalists develop a low tolerance for relational noise. As self-awareness grows, they stop confusing familiarity with safety. They start asking, does this connection actually nourish me, or am I just maintaining it out of habit? So they pull back. Not dramatically, just enough to breathe. They stop oversharing. They stop explaining themselves. They stop initiating. From the outside, it can look cold, distant, even selfish. But internally, it's often an act of self-preservation. They're not rejecting people. They're choosing peace. If you relate to this, you've probably noticed how calm your life feels with fewer interactions. Quieter, clearer, and maybe, just maybe, lonelier in a strange but honest way. Then there's the mirror breaker. This one is subtle and uncomfortable. At some point, this person realizes their friend group only sees an old version of them, the fun one, the messy one, the always available one. And no matter how much they change, the group keeps reflecting that outdated image back. Every time they try to show growth, it's met with jokes, or disbelief, or reminders of who they used to be. So eventually, they stop trying. Psychologically, humans need to be seen accurately to feel safe. When a group keeps locking you into a past identity, it creates internal tension. You feel unseen, misunderstood, and strangely invisible, even in a room full of people. So the mirror breaker doesn't argue. They don't demand recognition. They just step away from the reflection altogether. They find new spaces where they're not defined by old stories, where they don't have to prove they've changed, where their present self can exist without explanation. If this is you, you've probably felt relief the moment you stopped showing up, like you could finally exhale. Another type is the values shifter. This is the person whose worldview quietly reorients. Maybe they become more reflective, more ethical, more intentional. Or maybe they simply stop finding certain behaviors funny: constant gossip, reckless habits, casual cruelty disguised as humor. Nothing happened. No big betrayal. Just a slow realization. I don't actually believe in this anymore. Psychologically, values shape belonging. When values diverge, connection becomes performative. You start editing yourself, avoiding topics, swallowing reactions, and over time, that self-censorship creates exhaustion. The values shifter doesn't preach. They don't try to convert anyone. They just disengage. They might still show up occasionally. Birthdays, big events. But the emotional center is gone. The bond has thinned. If you're nodding right now, you've probably felt that weird mix of gratitude and grief. Thankful for what those friendships once were. Sad they no longer fit who you are. But here's the twist. There's also the self-recognizer. This is the person who realizes that outgrowing a friend group isn't always about the group. Sometimes it's about finally meeting yourself. They notice how drained they feel after hanging out, how they perform a role instead of being present, how silence feels more comforting than conversation. And instead of blaming anyone, they ask a hard question. Who am I when no one expects anything from me? Psychologically, this happens during identity consolidation. As people become more grounded, they stop needing external validation. And when you no longer need approval, some relationships naturally dissolve. The self-recognizer doesn't replace the group immediately. They sit in the quiet. They let the space exist. They learn who they are without constant social feedback. And yes, it can feel isolating. But it also feels honest. So if you're watching this and thinking, why does this feel uncomfortably familiar? You're not alone. Outgrowing a friend group quietly doesn't mean you're heartless, or superior, or ungrateful. It often means you've changed in ways that don't announce themselves loudly. It means your inner world has shifted before your outer one caught up. So here's the question, and I'll leave you with. Which one sounded most like you? The quiet evolver? The emotional minimalist? The mirror breaker? The values shifter? Or the self-recognizer? Or maybe you're a mix of all of them. And if this hit a little too close to home, take that as a sign. Not that something is wrong with you, but that something is changing. And if you want to keep exploring the quiet psychology behind everyday behavior, the kind that no one really talks about, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you think. Stick around. There's a lot more beneath the surface than most friendships ever reveal.